Today I want to share a little bit about the realization process for the limited edition bottle we did for Bud Light this winter. In honor of Super Bowl 49 and Bud Light as a sponsor of the event, we created this limited edition aluminum twist-off bottle to celebrate the occasion. In order to unite both Super Bowl fans and Bud Light fans around the event, we created a copy-driven design that was like Bud Light's version of a coach's playbook. So there's copy featured such as catch cameraman off guard, run a different route, and wow the crowd. We explored design in our design studio, and as you can see at first glance it seems pretty straightforward. It's copy-driven design, large textured type, all printed on an aluminum can. But as we in realization dug into the design, we realized we had some challenges. So one of the major challenges printing on aluminum cans, or in this case an aluminum bottle, is the challenges inherent in the printing process itself. In this case, it's a type of dry offset, which basically means the inks can't touch. When the inks go down, they all go down at the same time. So in this case, all 6 colors go down wet. And when that happens, you don't want them to touch because they could bleed into one another and cause contamination. So looking at the design file here, the first thing we noticed was, okay, the designers intend for the type to be white. And normally that would just involve doing a stay away around the type, so in this case between the white and the blue, the background, to prevent the contamination. However, if you zoom in and you look at all of the texture here in the type, that would quickly become really problematic. Either we'd have a whole lot of silver, or, well, basically we'd lose the personality of our type. So we had to make a decision. Would we remove the texture, or would we just drop the text to substrate, which is inevitably what we did. Here, we're starting to get into the file. This is early work in progress from realization. So we're going in here and we're cleaning up all these areas. And in order to do this, we've created little guides for ourselves, these little pink squares. So any little bit of texture that's smaller than that square, we would eliminate. And anything that size or a little bit larger, we would enlarge and kind of optimize so that the type will print very clean. So moving on to our release files, you see here, you can see now our type is dropped to substrate. Everything is nice and clean. The pink areas indicate white ink, so you can see that in the Bud Light logo and the UPC. And all of the gray, sort of light gray areas here in the type and other features, that's just the aluminum can substrate. The other thing you notice about the file, the background is made up of 2 blues here, and normally that would mean a gradient, one blue overprinting the other. But as I mentioned earlier, in this type of printing, the colors can't touch. So what we're actually doing here is utilizing a technique where we interlock the 2 colors very tightly together called butt fitting. And so they are almost touching, but are interlocked in such a way that it gives the appearance and the illusion of gradient. So once printed, it really makes a nice gradient of color. While we're talking about print, one of the interesting things about my job, it encompasses more than just print production. And it's really what makes realization here at Pearlfisher different than a lot of our peers across the industry. We get involved in the design process, and we're there from the beginning all the way through the end. We like to contribute to the process with our knowledge in structure, 3D, materials, and finishes. This way we're adding to the design as it goes through, and we're also making sure that anything that we're presenting to the clients at any stage is producible. This way we stay ahead of the curve, keeping our designers informed and our clients happy. As an aside, just in the process of making this bottle, it's initially extruded as a straight-sided cylinder, so the walls go straight up here. It's then printed, and then afterwards is sent into a shape former where the neck is then formed. Separately, the cap is printed on a flat piece of aluminum and then formed and extruded into the cap. As a result of this forming process, the texture and the color of these 2 areas, the bottle, so the neck and the cap, take on a slightly different appearance, and this is just the result of squishing all that material and ink together in concentrated form. So at the end of the project, the client was actually really happy with the result. We loved seeing the final product on the shelf, even if it was just for a limited amount of time. Thank you.